Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts. We are expecting some turbulence. Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts. Ladies and gentlemen, we are expecting some turbulence. Please fasten your seatbelts.
What's up guys, I'm Leg and today we're going to be refurbing the wheels on my new Audi A5. So let's spin you round and let's show you what the wheels are like originally and just how damaged they are. So as you can see here, oh no, all around the outside of these wheels have been smashed to smithereens and they're silver. Now we've got front and back to do. I've already done two, so let's show you what they're going to look like when they're finished. We're going for a completely different look, which as you can see here, we're going gold with black spokes, and all around the edge of the rim you can see how we've completely refurbished all those dents and chunks what have come out of it. So yeah, it's a bit of dirt. I've done these wheels a couple of days ago, so they're a little bit dirty, but you can see this is what the car looks like with the new wheels compared to what the car looks like with the old wheels. So without too much waffle, let's get on with it and let's start refurbing these wheels. But tell us in the comments whether you preferred the silver or the black and gold. Right guys, so a couple of things to start with. My car has these wheel nut covers, so in order to get these off, which is the first stage before we even jack the car up, you need a tool like this. It's like sort of horseshoe U-bend thing with these two little hooks, and you can see what you do is you just pop it on and give it a tug, and there you have these off. Now I'm going to be replacing these, so let's take these off and let's stack them up all in a pile. Right, now we've got that off, we need one locking wheel nut which should come with the car. That fits that one bolt to stop the alloys getting stolen, and I've got a breaker bar with this 17mm socket in to do these. Now before we jack the car up, we need to crack these wheel nuts so they're loose, so when it's in the air we can actually get the wheel off without the wheel spinning. So that is our first stage, to crack these wheel nuts. There's one, two, three, four, and our final one, which is the locking wheel nut, 5. Notice I haven't took the bolts out yet, and that's because of the car is not jacked in the air and you don't want the wheel to fall off when it's supporting the car. Now we've got our little jack here. Hello Jackie. Bruh. And we've got our axle stands, because the car's going to be up on axle stands because it's going to be up in the air for quite a while, as it's probably going to take me a whole day just to do the one wheel. Now underneath where we want to be jacking on our jacking points, let's show you. So just under the seal of the car, as you can see if I angle you up here, there is a section just here, and along this lip here is where we want to be putting our jack and our axle stand to lift the car. Now let's get it jacked up and get the car in the air and get this back wheel off. We're now going to lower the jack. This jack doesn't do very slow, very well. As you can see, wouldn't recommend dropping it that quick, but I have no control over this jack. We need to get a new jack. As you can see, the car is in the air on the axle stand now, nice and strong, not going to fall anywhere. So now I need to remove these bolts, what we just loosened, take the whole wheel off, give the wheel a clean, and then we're into sanding. So guys, as you can see, we've got our wheel on the grass and it's absolutely covered in dirt and grime. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pop that out. There's our centre cap. That's going to get resanded and resprayed. I did spray it the other day. This one was one of the worst centre caps we had when it comes to finish, so I'll probably resand that and respray that again. I'm just going to put that there for the moment. Again, if I lift it up and show you guys here, you can see just how dirty the rim of this wheel is, completely black. Now we've also got to remove any of the wheel weights what are stuck on the inside. I will be getting the wheels completely rebalanced, so although I'm taking the weights off, once they're finished I'll be back down the garage and they'll have weights put back on so it doesn't affect the handling of the car. Now first thing to do is start cleaning all this dirt and this grime off this wheel and see what we've got to work with. Some wheel cleaner, mixed up solution already. Just going to start with this old sponge and give it a good scrub and get rid of a lot of this dirt that's sitting on the surface. As you can see, they're very grimy. As you can tell from the video guys, these wheels are not in the best condition, but I was really pleased with just how clean the new ones in the background come up. So I'm going to rinse it off, rinse away any of that dirt what was just maybe sitting there, flip the wheel over, wash all that dirt off. Look at that. So what I've got guys is I've got a scraper tool and a flathead screwdriver. I'm going to flip the wheel up. If I turn it this way you can see what I'm doing. Again, I wouldn't recommend taking these weights off of your wheels unless you are prepared to get your wheels rebalanced. Just like I said, once I've done them I will be rebalancing the wheels anyway. And I'm just going to use the screwdriver.
The balancing weights are there to distribute the weight evenly across the tyre so that you get even tyre wear. So I highly recommend, if you're refurbing your wheels and you take the weights off like I did, then make sure you take a trip to the tyre clinic afterwards and get your wheels rebalanced. This can also save any premature wear of the suspension or even steering components.
That's the whole wheel with all the gloop from those weights off. Now ready to wipe it off, dry it and start sanding. So let's get a rag and let's start wiping any bits off. So I'm using these today. When I went to the shop there wasn't much selection of sandpaper, so I've got to make do with what I've got. Obviously I'm halfway through, I've done 2 wheels, I've got a few more to do. So these are what I'm using today. They are P120s. They should be alright, they should be okay. I mean, it's all just sanding it flat, making sure it's smooth. It's all about the prep. So make sure you take your time prepping the wheel before you just bore in and spray it. It's a very long, slow process, but if you've got the time, it's quite satisfying once they're done. So let's get on with it.
When getting your wheels ready for a full respray or even a full refurb, it's very important that you take your time with the prep. Depending on the condition of the wheels and the amount of damage, some people can use 80 grit sandpaper, but I chose to use, like I said earlier, the 120. It's this part of the job what's the most time consuming. I mean, on average it took me a day each wheel to refurb, and probably about a quarter of that day was down to sanding. Fortunately this wheel wasn't too badly damaged with no major craters in it. However, if you have a wheel with a massive dent in it, then it's still fixable, but you will need to order the special alloy wheel filler, what we'll leave in the description, and all you do is you mix it together and then fill it in the holes, wait for it to dry and then sand it back.
Right guys, that's finally this whole wheel sanded. I'm just going to use the compressed air on this side, and I'm going to blow off this side if any dust has come through. And I think that is ready. There's a little bit there I'm going to get. So to tape this wheel up, what I've got is I've got some masking tape and this plastic, which I'm going to line the wheel. But the first thing to do is start breaking off the tape and placing it around the edge. Now, some people use cards, some people use other things. There's lots of ways of masking up your tyres, but this is how I do it. So I get the tape and I'm just going to tuck the tape on the inside of the rim like so, and then I'm just going to stick it down just like that, allowing me to get right down behind the edge of that rim without spraying the tyre. I'm going to do that right the way around.
When it comes to masking up your wheels, many people have different techniques. Some people use cards and tuck all around the edge, and some people, like me, use tape. It's entirely up to you what you feel comfortable using, but you need to make sure you take that time taping the wheel up properly so you don't spray any of the tyre. The material what I chose to use to wrap the outside of the tyre is just the plastic dust sheets, and we'll leave a link in the description for them as well, just in case you think it's something you want to use. As you can see, the technique I went for was use tape around the very edge of the rim and then tape the plastic to the tape what's on the side of the tyre so it bonds better. And last but not least, don't forget to mask up the valve where you put air into the tyre.
All I do is I just wrap it up like so and squeeze the tip. Done, sorted. Right guys, so my wheel's all taped up. I've got my E-Tech primer. I was using Halford's primer on one of the other wheels, but it didn't bond anywhere near as well as this stuff. So this is a little bit more expensive. Links in the description if you guys are looking for the same colour or the same type of paint. And this is Advanced Technology Primer. So it definitely bonds a lot better. It comes with a pack along with gloss, and the gloss makes the wheels much more shinier than the Halford's gloss as well. I don't know why, but that's my opinion. Links will be in the description if you want it. I'm going to stop waffling on before my battery runs out, but I'm going to start by priming the inside drum of this wheel, then I'll pick it up, flip it round, and we'll do the face. So spraying is not my best kind of skill, but I recommend a nice light coat first of all, nothing too thick.
Like I said earlier on in the video, I'm really not that good at spraying. However, most of it comes down to the prep and making sure that you do light coats. I wouldn't recommend spraying your wheels outside because you can have issues with the wind, flies get stuck in the paint, and like you'll see towards the end of the video, you can even get rained on. Bruh. The technique we're going for is 2 light coats of primer, allow that to dry, then 2 coats of colour, allow that to dry, and then 2 coats of lacquer. However, where we're doing double colours, we have to change it a little bit, as you'll see in the video. As you can see, I start in the hard to get places and tight corners, that way I should avoid getting runs, and I'm still keeping it with a very light first coat. A key tip when spraying with cans is to only press the spray can for 2 seconds and always let off with your finger. This will minimise the chances of you getting the runs. So after focusing on those hard to reach areas, you then start moving on to the rest of the wheel and the easier to reach places. But make sure you're keeping the coats very light. As you can see, my technique was to keep moving around the wheel and spray it from many different angles so there was no areas that were unsprayed.
So we'll give that 15 minutes, let that set, and then I can see a bit of a dent there, a bit of a lump there, a bit of a run here. There's just a couple of bits, a bit of a lump in there. What I'm going to sand out with some wet and dry. Right guys, so I've moved over here because if it looks like it's just starting to spit with rain, and obviously you don't spray paint in the rain. Now I've got a bit of wet and dry, and now this has had time to dry, I'm just going to look for any bumps and scratches what are showing up at the moment, which probably need sanding out. So there's a bit here, you can see. So I've just got some wet and dry.
So if you cock up like I did with the spraying or you get some imperfections, it's important that you allow the paint to dry before you start resanding. And make sure you get that wheel exactly how you want it, because you will see any imperfections at the end.
That's it. Let's put it round over there and put another coat of primer on it.
That's 2 coats of primer on the front and back before we start to put any top coat on.
So as you can see, the next colour we're going for is Halford's Gloss Black, and we're going to be doing the inside spokes, but let's let that dry and then get this stuff on. So we need 2 of these, 2 coats of this, and it's just these inside pieces.
Again, notice the same technique where we start on the hard to reach areas first, and then after we've got all of them, we then go for the easier to reach areas. And don't forget to keep your coats nice and light. Don't go too heavy or you'll still end up with runs.
That first coat of black dry, and once that's dried we'll go again with a second coat over the same area, slightly heavier.
This is the coverage of the black paint on the wheel after just 1 coat. You need to make sure you do 2 coats so you get a nice, good, evenly spread coverage. If you find yourself like me spraying outside and you end up getting a fly in your wet paint, whatever you do, don't try and get the fly out, allow the paint to dry and then sand it back and go again.
Alright guys, now that's the black spray all dry. It's time to get the masking tape, tape up the black areas and then spray the gold all around.
Another key thing to do, and a mistake not to make, is make sure you allow your paint a long time to dry before you mask it up. Otherwise, when you get your masking tape and you start taping things up, you won't find out until the end when you go to peel it off, but you've peeled half of your paint off, and then you've got to start again. So it's very important to allow time for your paint to dry and do not rush.
Right guys, so now as you can see, the wheels are all taped and masked up, all ready to go. It took quite a while to get that all done. Now we're going to get the gold spray and we're going to start layering on our coats of gold. So the spray I'm using again is the E-Tech, but it's gold alloy wheel paint. Come as a package, link will be in the description for this if you guys like the colour and want to grab yourself a good deal on it just like I did.
So now we spray our second colour, which is going to be 2 coats of gold, again with the same technique where we focus in the hard to reach areas first, leaving the easier to reach areas until last on each coat. You can see here the technique when spraying with a can to let off the spray and make it a lot less likely to get runs.
Right guys, that's the second coat of gold on this side. Now we've got to flip it round, do the drum and then spray the lacquer. So.
And don't forget to make sure that both sides of the wheel get 2 coats of paint.
Right guys, so you're all sprayed with gold, so let's get this tape off and see what she looks like. Moment of truth.
This is the part where you find out if you haven't allowed your paint long enough to dry, you'll end up peeling it back off of the wheel and on the side of the tape and have to start all over again. As you can see, mine fortunately is not peeling any of the paint off, and that's because I give it a nice long dry time. But don't leave yet if you think we're done, because we've still got another 2 coats of lacquer to go on before I can show you what it looks like on the car.
That's all the tape off, and that is our finished wheel, other than spraying lacquer on it, which I'm about to do now.
It's important when you go to spray lacquer you don't get too excited with yourself, because if you think you're near the end of finishing your wheels. You need to remember to keep your coats nice and light, because of any runs in the lacquer you will most definitely see it. So that's 2 coats of lacquer on the front, 2 coats of lacquer on the back, and make sure you allow it to dry in between.
Right, so that's the wheel all sprayed up and finished. Let's get it back on the car.
And remember, when you're fitting your newly painted wheels onto your car, try not to gouge the centres out when you're putting in the bolts.
There you have it. Wheel on, caps on, job's a good one. I'm Leg. Hit that subscribe button and join us as we make loads more videos sorting out my Audi A5. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.
Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts. We are expecting some turbulence.
Thanks for watching, guys. This is what the wheels look like on the car, and I am very happy with them, especially considering I can't spray paint for shit. If you're looking at spraying your wheels and you think this video's helped you, then do us a favour, hit that subscribe button, tap that like button and tell us in the comments what project you're doing. And if you're not doing a project or spraying your wheels, then why not tell us in the comments what you think of my new wheels. But I'm Leg and this is Project Aurora.
Please fasten your seatbelts.